Yes, that's the historical Fort Finn Castle and the Queen's Staircase. A very interesting and historical fort here on the island.
That is amazing.
Built by Bahamian slaves to protect the entrance of the harbor. The fact of the matter is, a lot of this land that we are driving on now, this is filled in land. The harbor was much closer here. Before the hospital, the harbor used to stretch way in here. And so once they run down the stairs, they will be right there. The ship will be right there and everything. Okay, so all this is just filled in land here that we are driving on. Okay.
They just fill it with rocks.
Yeah, well, you know, modern man have modern technology to create land, to fill in areas that was once beach. Once we actually, one time ago, that used to be like, you know, the beach, water. You know, we're gonna take a ride on to East Street, and oh yes, but the Bahamas is a very, very nice place to live. I enjoy living here for the fact that we have a really good democracy in terms of our democratic process in the country. During our general elections, our elections is usually peaceful, and you know, it's a very stable country to live. You know, a lot of countries in this region, when they are going through a general elections, there's a lot of chaos and violence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Jamaica. Oh, you don't want to be in Jamaica when there's an election. Oh, yes. But in the Bahamas, we have a very peaceful process. And the transition from one government to the next is always a very peaceful and smooth transition. To my left, we have Zion Baptist Church. This church was built by Mr. Joseph Burton of the Baptist Missionary Society of Great Britain, and open up here to my left for public worship on the 28th day of August 1835. In the Bahamas, we have just about every major religion that exists around the world. The dominant religion is the Baptist. The Baptist has the majority of members. Okay? But we have the Anglicans, we have Presbyterians, Jehovah's Witnesses. We have all faiths. We have people who worship Muslims, people who worship Buddha, and so forth and so have you.
Back there, did we pass a? Is that a TV station?
Yes, that's a radio station. It's known
radio.
And a television actually.
Oh, okay.
It's known as Love 97. One of the most popular ones. This area here to my right, this is known as the Bank Lane area. This is where we have Central Police Station. We have a few of our magistrate courts, including the Supreme Court. To my left, we have the Victoria Gardens area. This is also where we have a few of our magistrate courts. I want you to take notice of this rectangular shaped building here to my right. And this is known as the Nassau Public Library. This building was actually built in 1793 when it was first constructed. It was built to be used as one of our prisons. Rio grew this very quickly as a prison, and it was converted to the Nassau Public Library in 1873. Also, when we were a colony of England during World War I and II, we had quite a number of Bahamians who went to fight in both wars. If you look at that monument to my right, that monument was erected to commemorate the lives of those Bahamians who lost their life during World War I and II defending the British Crown. Directly behind the monument is the Supreme Court building. Our Supreme Court was built in 1920, and a lot of the capital offense cases are tried in the Supreme Court. I want you to take notice of this building here with the red shutters to my right, and that is known as the Magna Carta Court building that was built in 1780 out of cut stone and wood. It was used for quite a number of years as one of our local magistrate courts. At one point it was a bakery, and now it's being used as one of our law firms. Also situated here to my right, this is known as the Bahamas Financial Services Center. Open up in May of 1992. It was where we have some of our offshore banks. We have JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, Chase Manhattan, to name a few. Banking and financial services is our second largest industry in this country. We also have the Bank of the Bahamas here to my right. Bank of the Bahamas is a 100% Bahamian-based, 60% Bahamian-based bank and 40% owned by a private company. Okay? Opposite us, we have the Central Bank of the Bahamas, and our central bank is run by a governor. The name of the current governor of the central bank, her name is Miss Wendy Craig. The central bank regulates all the local banking institutions in the country, It also lends assistance to the government financially to build public schools and public buildings. Okay? All right.
So who are the real native people that were here first?
Okay, the native Bahamians, they would have been Lucayan Indians. And our history books teaches us that they would have migrated from the Caribbean islands and the Lesser Antilles in South America to the Bahamas between 500 and 800. And they lived peaceful lives. They were religious people because they used to worship Zemis. That was their type of religion. They used to be the basic survival of farming and fishing. And they had a very unique culture because they used to flatten the heads of their newborn babies in between two pieces of wood, and they done that for form and fashion. Okay, and and they used to paint their foreheads with loud colors like oranges and different colors. They would have been the native Bahamians, the real true Bahamians. Opposite us, we have the Frederick Street steps. These steps was erected here to replace the road in 1793. To my left, we have the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. The cornerstone for this church was laid in 1810 by a loyalist. His name is Mr. Michael Malcolm. Yes, at the time that Christopher Columbus visited the Bahamas, the Lucayan Indians were living here, but they were, went to work inside the gold mines. The Europeans came and they captured them and took them into the gold mines of Hispaniola. Do you know which country is Hispaniola today?
Spain.
Well, Hispaniola was a small Caribbean country, so in this region, it's Dominican Republic. That used to be known as Hispaniola.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And where they worked the gold mines there. All right, and
So are they still
No.
population here?
No, ma'am. They don't have no trace of them here. To my left, we have. If you look to my left, you'll see the Sir Gregory's Arch. That was named in honor of our 1850s governor. His name is John Gregory, and that is known as the Sir Gregory's Arch. This is the government house here to my left, just like how you love the White House in Washington, D.C. It's the government house of the Bahamas. In the front section of government house, there is a statue of Christopher Columbus. The statue was imported from England to the Bahamas in 1834 to commemorate Christopher Columbus' landfall in the Bahamas in 1492. Okay, the British government built this house here to my left for £4,000 in 1800. They built this house to provide housing for the Queen's local representative. Whoever was appointed governor, that person will get to live in this beautiful edifice. Well, you see, in the Bahamas, we don't have a president. So the person who would be the president really is the Governor General. You see what I'm saying? The Governor General does all the Queen's functions here in the Bahamas. The Queen's functions in the Bahamas are primarily ceremonial, where she entertains government officials from other countries and diplomats. She also conducts swearing-in ceremonies of those persons who were appointed to serve the government in different capacities. Okay? So this is the government house here to my left.
But that was in the old days, not now.
Well, the Queen still has a constitutional position in the country today.
Oh, she does.
She still remains the figurehead of government, and she still appoints a governor, but the governor is no longer an Englishman. The governor is now a local Bahamian. Okay? Yeah, so she basically she just have a figurehead position, really. But the persons who are charged with creating the policies governing the country are the government who are elected by the people, headed by a prime minister, members of parliament, and cabinet ministers. So you see, cabinet will be the executive branch of government charged with creating policies governing the country. Okay?
Did she ever visit?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth has been to the Bahamas countless of times. This is almost a second home. Okay? Now we're going to visit the Pirates of the Museum.
Oh,
To my left, we have the Hilton British Colonial Hotel. I would say that the Hilton British Colonial Hotel is the oldest existing hotel on the island at this time. We're going to take a right on to Marlborough Street. But we also have the Christ Church Cathedral here to my left, which is a very historical church. I think this church, the construction of this church, signify the establishment of the city-town area here in Nassau. So to my right we have, this is the Pirates Museum. All right.
That was cool.
Was it?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
That was neat.
cute.
Oh, okay. Yep, we have the Christ Church Cathedral.
Yeah, I went in there. I took a peek.
Yeah, this was mid 1600s.
16.
Yeah. Remember I told you that Christopher Columbus discovered the Bahamas many times. I'm sorry, under Spanish flag. And Spain always felt like the Bahamas belonged to them. And over the years, the British rule was interrupted by the Spanish. They came here many times and they burned down the whole time. In 1748, they came here and they burned down the whole time. And they burned down the whole town many times and destroyed that church just to protest against the British. But this is the government house here opposite us. We just established a new Governor General about last week, I think it was. Her name is Dame Margaret Pinlin. She is the wife of our first Bahamian Prime Minister, and his name is the Right Honorable Lyndon Oscar Pinlin. That's who the actual airport is named after. The airport is known as Lyndon Pinlin International Airport, and it's named after the Right Honorable Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinlin. Okay.
When were your last elections?
The last elections was held on the 7th of May 2012. The life of a government of the Bahamas consists of 5 years. We are dominated by two major political entities, the center-left Progressive Liberal Party and the center-right Free National Movement. Okay, we have had third parties forming throughout our history, but were never able to win a general elections. Alright? But if God spares my life and the next election occurs, I will be voting for the third party. I have tried both of those two major political parties out, and I'm just about exhausted now. Because people promise you things, but when they get to office, they forget. They forget everything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give the guys, the other guys, a try. Next election, that is. You know,
So you'd be an independent.
somewhat of an independent, I guess. My vote is a protest vote, protesting against the two major political parties. Now, also to my right, this will be the oldest existing hotel on the island. This is known as the Hilton British Colonial Hotel. In the front section of the Hilton British Colonial Hotel is a statue of our first royal governor. His name is Governor Woodes Rogers. Governor Woodes Rogers would have been appointed governor of the Bahamas in the year of 1718. He himself was a pirate, and he was appointed here by King George III to get rid of the pirates in the Bahamas. Prior to the construction of this hotel, this used to be a fort known as Fort Nassau. And this is where 8 pirates were hanging here on this site by Woodes Rogers. To my left, we have the U.S. Embassy.
They told us a little bit about Fort Nassau when we were at Fort Fincastle.
Oh, yes. And Fort Nassau was built, and it was built to protect the harbor, but it didn't really saw much action because the British had defeated the French in the Battle of the Nile. Even before Napoleon had a chance to set sail this way, the British had defeated the French. So basically none of the forts were never even saw any action. They were just being used, or just being used now for a signal tower for the cruise ships. To my right we have the Junkanoo Beach. Is a very popular beach for tourists who come on the cruise ships because of it's so close to the cruise ships. A lot of tourists, they often come there to relax and to swim. Oh yes. Now we're heading into the western part of the island. Oh yes. Oh yes. We have the Man's Corporate Center here to my left. This building is about 10 years old. It's just a corporate center with different some government offices and other offices situated in that building. And this is the largest fort over here to my left. This is known as Fort Charlotte. This was also built by the same person who built the other one.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we're going to be passing the fish fry. Now, we also have our cricket field here to my left. Cricket is the national sport of the Bahamas. Right here to my left is where we play cricket. Also to my right, we have the fish fry. Popular area here for tourists and Bahamians.
Which one do you like the best, Jermaine?
I like Goldie's, but Twin Brothers is just as good. I feel like Goldie's falling off a little bit now. I just been there about a week or so ago, and I got me a fish meal for like $16 from Twin Brothers, and then the next week I went to Goldie's just to see if they are consistent or they are being consistent, and I realized Goldie's has went down a little bit. But Goldie's is usually better to me than Twin Brothers, but they fallen down.
What was here on the left? It looks like some ruins.
Yes, that used to be the, like a property of a prominent individual, and
so somebody's house.
yeah, that used to be a home of an individual. The bush grew over it.
Right.
Yeah. And this is the Bahama Grill.